Bible Prophecy Masterclass. Book Description. Judgment Day, Volumes 1, 2 and 3, Prelude to Armageddon. Hello everyone, and welcome to this first episode of the podcast we are calling the Bible Prophecy Masterclass. In it, we will be delving into all of the Bible's prophecies as they relate to the end times, including the entirety of the book of the Revelation. This study is rooted in a prophecy series written by Mr. Alvin Mitchell. You can call me Aria, will be your affable host. Realizing that talks and teachings about Bible prophecy in general and the book of the Revelation have been done adnausium, our approach is a vast departure from what might be considered the norm. Mention John's Revelation, and people will invariably jump to the beast, always referred to as the Antichrist, his mark, and the 7 years of tribulation. Nothing necessarily wrong with that beyond the fact that consistently they virtually skip the entirety of the book, which leaves them clueless as to the God-inspired circumstances that will lead to the coming of the beast or why his mark will be mandated, or how the last 7 years of time as we know it will fit into John's eschatological narrative. There is in truth much more that God wants both his people and the people among the lost to know well in advance of Armageddon. Thus, knowing as we do that when God commissioned his prophets to pen his prophetic messages, he did so with the understanding that oftentimes only men living at specific times would comprehend them, per Daniel 12:4, 8-9, and 1 Peter 1 verses 10-12. We begin this eschatological journey with our primary goal being to establish as objectively as we possibly can the specific takeaway and a chronology of last days events God has entombed in his prophetic messages, earmarked for men living in these awe-inspiring days of these end times. In so many words, our main objective is to demystify God's plan for the end times, central to which is the book of the Revelation, by pulling together all of the Bible's end times prophecies on eschatology, thereby setting in order a most probable scenario in terms of how and why things will proceed as they will to the second coming of Christ in his physical appearance at the Battle of Armageddon. All that said then, aside from their several superstitions, men of intellect and education for centuries and millennia pooh-poohed the idea of life outside of the earth's boundaries. The Bible, on the other hand, has always held that God is real, and so are many other extraterrestrial life forms. In virtual confirmation of the Bible's long-standing teaching to the contrary, the past 100-plus years has seen a dramatic shift in mankind's thinking relative to extraterrestrial beings and their attitude toward the Earth and our solar system. They know we are here, they now say, and they did not find us by accident. Having been watching us, they warn, there will be an encounter, and that visitation will likely not be cordial. In the 3 primary, informative must-read volumes that constitute the backbone of this master class, author Alvin Mitchell takes a canny, deep dive into the whole of end times Bible prophecy, revealing that the current fears of humanity regarding the threat from superior alien life forms is at worst well-grounded. Neither the actions of the nations, nor the acts of the chief of all aliens' largely lethargic churches has gone unnoticed. In accord with age-old plans, fully laid out in eternity past, and in full accord with the expectations of men, if not in response thereto, that dreaded extraterrestrial will come, as promised in the Bible, and as anticipated. However, in a manner reminiscent of the grapes of wrath poured out upon the gods of Egypt, Mr. Mitchell in this Judgment Day series portends that he will begin the arduous process of systematically making himself known and his presence felt, literally, among modern gods of earth well in advance of his coming at Armageddon, this per Ezekiel chapter 36:21-24, 32, 36-38, chapter 37:12-14, 21, chapter 38:16, 23, chapter 39:6-7. In volumes 1 and 2 of this 3-part series, covering Israel's rise and Babylon's fall, author Alvin Mitchell will show that the official beginning of the end, the countdown to Armageddon, will commence with God's preservation of the apple of his eye in the face of otherwise insurmountable odds, during a deadly assault that he, the Almighty, having already masterminded, will instigate, that concurrent with the complete destruction of Israel's only reliable ally, the hated and despised Babylon the Great. In Volume 3 of this study, Mr. Mitchell will show that, for the most part, most of God's end times conciliatory churches are and have always been therefore stymied by a long-standing peace pact with the devil. For this reason, they will be lost, per Matthew 7 verses 21 to 23, Revelation 2 and 3. Yet, in spite of this significant loss, Acts of God versus Gods of the Earth will show that in keeping with the primary purpose of the apocalypse, multitudes of unsaved souls will yet be won during the period of the apocalypse. See Revelation 6 verses 9 to 11, 7:13-17. Inaugural to these momentous acts of redemption, God will systematically destroy, by their own hands, the globe-spanning, self-serving industrial foundations of an empire created and governed by the Euronations, and their offshoots, including Babylon the Great. In so doing, he will lock theirs and Babylon's hypocritical churches in a lost state forever in the process, per Revelation 6 verses 1 to 10. To preclude any possibility that any of them might ever rise again, this devastation of the nations will be followed hard by a systematic decimation of the natural temporal foundations of that empire in Revelation chapters 8 to 9, 11, 13. Continuing en route to his coming at Armageddon, the dreaded alien of all aliens will unlock the darkest recesses of a hell he created, unleashing a terror from that diabolic prison that will drive men to such despair that even suicide will offer no relief, as death will run away from them, at the very sight of their encroachment, Revelation 9 verses 1 to 13. In finale, his final systemic destruction of the Earth's biosphere along with all of its various ecosystems will render the Earth utterly uninhabitable according to chapter 16, see also Matthew 24 verses 15 to 27, Luke 21 verses 25 to 27, even in the face of superior but fiendish leadership from the pits of Hades, channeled in virtual full force directly through a man God scornfully, unaffectionately recognizes only as the beast. Truly then, one might well argue that as we look back to the Halloween revelry recently celebrated and the next fast approaching, this in-depth study will show that the minds of men has never imagined a horror story more pungent than the plans God has in store for bringing his world to an end.